Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Running Tales, the podcast where we delve into the extraordinary stories of everyday runners. My name's Craig Lewis, and on this pod, we shone running metrics and Strava segments in favour of the incredible achievements of people like you who lace up your trainers for your mental health, to be happier, or for the simple love of running. And if you love what we do, then please like and subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen. And if you get a chance, please give us a preferably 5-star review. And most importantly, let all your friends know about the podcast so they can catch up on the inspirational stories that we tell here. Today's guest is Bob Bell Johnson, for whom running is not simply about fitness. It is thinking time. Bob is currently working to become a personal trainer, a major career change that comes that comes after a long and complex journey with his physical and mental health. Born with a club foot, which required surgery when he was young and left his lower left leg permanently weaker, he later faced back problems that led to major spinal surgery. So running was never the obvious path. As he puts it himself, running is like eating chocolate with gravy. It can be done, but it's not great. But run he does, using the sport as a way to process grief and take care of his mental health. Bob was 18 when his mum Liz told him she'd been diagnosed with sarcoma, a rare type of cancer. She died just over a year later, aged only 53. Liz was outgoing, joyful, and deeply present in his life, and Bob remembers dancing around the kitchen with her to Dire Straits. Losing her at such a pivotal age left a lasting mark, and for many years he buried his grief, struggling with depression and using alcohol to cope. But more recently, he stopped drinking and he's using running as a healthier way to process what happened, including taking on this year's London Marathon for Sarcoma UK. So, without further ado, you've heard enough of me. Let's welcome Bob onto the Running Tales podcast. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Great stuff. Listen, I want to kind of start, I suppose, towards the start of your journey. There's a lot to go through there, as we heard about the intro, but obviously central to all of this was your mum, Liz.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, just tell us all a little bit about Liz and what kind of person she was.
Oh God. Very, very outgoing. Always there for me in my younger years. I remember sort of like, even from being a young age, always making sure there was stuff for me to do, whether it be out throughout the holidays or always just being present. She was always there, So it was. Whether it was going taking us canoeing or doing different things, netballing, trampolining, or anything like that. But always very present in my younger life, and always very, very supportive. I played in bands from the age of 11 with my friends, so we'd go and support my friend's dad. He played in a band, so we'd play in their breaks and things like that, and that's how I've become to do with my music. And she's always very supportive. I used to gig in Manchester three or four nights a week. She was always there supporting me through everything really. So yeah, losing her at the age that I did was not great.
No, and it sounds like from what you just said that she got you really involved in a lot of sort of physical activities, if that makes sense, and presumably despite the conditions that we just spoke about in the intro there as well. So that really, I guess, speaks to how she encouraged you to do things and perhaps to why you do what you do now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. She was always sort of like wanting to. She was a bit miffed when I was younger because we got into this sort of thing as in the primary school is that you'd have a sports day, but it doesn't really matter whether you win or lose. Everybody wins, and she was a bit more like, well, yeah, but it's you want to at least have that thing so you can try and have a go at winning something.
Yeah.
So my mum and a few others, they came up with this idea of having a village Olympics. So they did that once a year for years and years. It was a big sort of sporting event, whether it be running races and things like that, or even like tossing the cable, welly flinging, shot put, all things like that. But it was, yeah, she definitely sort of steered me towards that sort of thing. Yeah, although she wasn't particularly very sporty herself, she was just the spirit of it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it certainly sounds like she is at the heart of everything, I suppose. Given all of that, how much of a shock of it was it for you when obviously she got the diagnosis of sarcoma and everything after that came to pass?
Yeah, it was a big shock. It was sort of like prime time. I just sort of started going out, boozing and stuff like that. So my way of dealing with it was to just carry on, just go out and drink. And I've had periods in my life where I've sort of stopped drinking, but then I'm an all or nothing person with things like this. So,
Mm.
and then I've had like I say, battled with depression for years. But at the time, yeah, it was at first off, I think I handled it all okay. Because nothing had really changed until after I lost mum. And then it
Mm.
was sort of maybe 6 months after that. I found it very sort of difficult, even like at my mum's funeral and that. It was, it hadn't sunk in. Um, so it's probably like 6 months after that that it really started to beat me up a bit, really.
Yeah. Do you think that sometimes when we talk about things like sarcoma and cancer generally and other illnesses of that sort, obviously the focus is on the person who has that condition, that disease, but we don't. Perhaps for the first couple of months afterwards, there's a focus on family and friends who are sadly left behind. But then everyone expects everyone to sort of get back to normal, and I
Yeah.
wonder whether your thought is, sometimes there's not enough concentration on those left behind people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's been something that's and a root cause of the way that I've sort of behaved throughout my life, up until I stopped drinking pretty much. Just especially for, just the whole I've never been able to sort of kind of put it to bed, whether it was just in cycles of depression, um, which then in periods when I was drinking, it would just be cyclical and just go worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Um, but yeah, it took me a very, very long time, probably nearly 18 years
Mm.
before I sort of went, right, I'm okay now to sort of I don't know why it took me so long, or I don't know whether it's just like me being a bit of a one-off or whatever, but yeah, struggled for a long time. Even just like thinking of things, I'd be getting upset, and rather than thinking of like the happy sort of times, if you like, and things like that,
Yeah.
I would, yeah, just sort of spiral downwards thinking of it.
And so what kind of state and what kind of situations did that take you to, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, yeah, pretty low. I mean, I started like antidepressants and stuff like that when I was maybe early 20s. Maybe the year or so after Mum had died, I was just really, really low with everything and just not having great thoughts a lot of the times. Um, and I managed to sort of that sort of stuck with me for years. And then because I'm quite a bubbly sort of outgoing person, I kind of use that to sort of mask things up.
Mm.
Um, which actually, but when I was on my own, really, it was sort of everything sort of eating me up all the time. Um, and then that's just it was sort of a repeated pattern through the years, again and again and again. Um, but yeah, just once I got into a sort of a drinking mindset, which I don't seem to be able to get me way out of it. I can't just. A few people say to me, "Oh, can you not just? Why can't you just have a beer or whatever?" Because I can't do that.
Yeah.
Um, so drink and the thoughts that I've had and the struggling with everything with mum. That is just. I've had to just put a line between those two and go, no, I'm not. I'm not drinking, and that allows me to sort of be free, if I'm honest,
Mm.
and not be sort of tied down by stuff.
And I'm guessing in a weird way, it may even get harder as those you mentioned 18 years there, as those years go by, because I don't know, you meet someone. new in your life 10 years after, um, and you're meeting them when you're drinking and you're out being outgoing and bubbly, and then in some moment you're feeling really down. Well, how can you talk to that person? Oh yeah, I'm really upset because my mum died 10 years ago, and do you know
Yeah, I
what I
know
mean?
it doesn't seem sort of worthy of it, does it? In a way, but yeah, it's true, and it does.
Mm,
I can vouch
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, yeah. I just wonder, it almost, that kind of spiral gets harder and harder to stop because the people who might have been there to stop it at the start may not be there, and the people you're meeting now can't relate to it.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
it's true. It actually took um, my mum and dad's friends live over in Spain and with their sons as well and families who are my age, and I went over to see them. It'd be like should be 3 years ago this September. That's when I started drinking actually, and
Yeah,
speaking to Linda, my mum's friend, that the conversation that we had, that actually sort of managed to be able to just make me go, I think I think I can I think I'm all right now. I don't know how it was that it was that conversation. It was just whatever was said just seemed to trigger something for me and may make me be able to cope a lot easier. And it was there that I decided, actually, there's no more drink. I've sort of gone with the idea of I want to do Stoptober because I was
yeah,
drinking really quite heavily, and with the idea of actually if I could just push it to the end of the year as well, that'd be like a medium term goal. But actually, I don't think I should be drinking again. And that's like three end of September this year is 3 years. So
oh, brilliant.
and it's made a mighty, mighty difference to my life, um, doing that and having the time and the energy to do other stuff.
Yeah. And at what stage did running become part of that? Were you running beforehand, or was it something you took up after that
So
September?
I actually, I think it was sort of 2021 maybe.
Mm,
I've always been terrible at running. Never been any good at it. And I decided, I think it was 2021, that I wanted to get a medal. I just said to one of my friends, "Joe, I want to get a medal. I want to do a half marathon." So it was kind of laughed off a little bit because I was drinking, smoking, and stuff like that, and it just something I've never really done. Um, so I did. We trained, and I did a half marathon at Heaton Park, and then did another 10K. Then got in. Then my foot just sort of really started playing up again. It was just not happy. My foot and my calf on my left side, which is the side that I had my operation on.
mm,
It was just really really playing up, and I stopped with it. Um, and then yeah, after I'd stopped drinking, I thought I needed to. I was kind of filling my time, probably sleeping about 3.5, 4 hours every day. So I was needing to fill all my time to sort of keep me active and not wanting to have a drink, if you
yeah.
like. So I'd be staying up doing work on a computer or looking into something or whatever up until like not even like watching the telly. I'd have to be actively doing something. Um, and then getting up early in the morning and then going out before work, going out for a walk in the morning or going out for a run, which that sort of became more and more sort of running. And then we decided to do another run, and sort of from then sort of booked onto a few other little bits. Um, and then decided a friend of mine was doing a 58-mile ultra marathon.
Right.
So I thought, oh, that sounds a bit because I've always liked going out walking in the hills and stuff like that. So in fact, next weekend going doing Ben Nevis again with my friends. Um, but we we uh, we decided to do this, and it's one local to myself, and it's all up over the hills, and it's a real tough one.
Mm,
So my friend, she does it. She walked it, but we decided to run it. So the training was on then to be able to try and complete this.
yeah.
But yeah, it was hard going that. So first year I did that, myself and my two friends, we did that, and it was just short of 19 hours it took us to do, and yeah, I did. We did then the year after. So last year we booked onto a half marathon each month with the idea to give us a sort of base level fitness all the way throughout the year to be able to get
Mm.
a bit of a better time. And the other
Right.
guys both ended up a little bit injured and that, so I did it on my own. Knocked nearly 5 hours off it. It was so, and I've lucky enough to sort of get a space again this year, so I'm really looking forward to doing that again.
Yeah, no,
It's
it sounds ace. Just quickly while I think about it, we obviously talked a little bit about some of the physical problems you had when you were younger, being born with the club foot and having to have um, the surgery and so on
yeah,
your back. And you mentioned that when you started running back when you were drinking in 2021, there were some flare-ups from that.
yeah.
Is that something that you still struggle with now, or are you able to
Oh
kind
yeah,
of?
yeah, yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Um, so my left ankle, um, if it doesn't work the same as my right ankle. So
Right.
if I'm to sort of like plan to flex my foot, um, I can't do the same in that foot as I can. In fact, I can barely push my foot off the floor with there's not enough strength there.
Yeah.
I've got strength in the leg, but I don't have the ability. A bit like on my toes, I can curl my toes on this feet, on this foot. They don't,
Right.
same sort of thing. Um, so yeah, but in general, the whole of the top of my foot and my ankle, it usually swells and it hurts a lot. But if I'm quite honest, it can do that all day, every day, and then so I just kind of think, do you know what? I'm 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 going to try and go for a run. And
Mm.
most times, actually, once I get going and into the swing of it, I can go out with a really sore foot and sort of like hobble for like a quarter of a mile and then get a bit better. And then sort of once I get into it, it kind of eases up a little bit and it allows me to
Yeah.
do it. And then I can sort of crack on a little bit. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't, and it's just horrendous. But like my back issues, that's just been um, that's just a continuation thing as well. So I had to travel to Newcastle yesterday for my partner's graduation. So we spent 8 hours in the car. Got up today, and my sciatica in my hip and that
Yeah.
is horrendous. But the way I see it is that if I just what else do I do? Just give up, roll over, and just not bother.
Mm.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
one thing that I do know is that if I don't do stuff, I end up in a worse place than if I do stuff. I
Mm.
kind of keeping moving for me is I've just got to be done. I have to just keep going and chipping at things. Otherwise, just seem to seize up.
Yeah. I mean, you've kind of answered the question I was going to go to next on that, which is along the lines of kind of when you're obviously starting out on your sober journey, but you still had these physical issues as well.
Yeah.
What made you think, do you know, the thing I'm going to do to fill this time is running? Because a lot of people would have gone, oh, do you know what? I'm not that healthy at the moment anyway. I've got other issues. The last thing I'm going to find something else to do. It won't be running. But for you, you obviously thought, yeah, I'll give running a go.
Yeah, I seem to sort of find that originally when I set off running, I always used to sort of go out and put my headphones on,
Yeah.
just go out and listen to whether it be audio books or just have like thinking sort of time for me. Listen to that or listen to some music or whatever. More recent times, I don't bother with headphones or anything, and I do just have it. It's just purely just time for thinking of whatever's going on in my life or plans that I want to
Mm.
do or whichever.
Yeah, yeah, and do you use other people have told me this before who've perhaps had problems with alcohol, and they kind of say what they've done with running is they've almost swapped one addiction for another, but the new addiction, running, is a lot more of a healthy one.
Yeah, very much so actually. So yeah, when I trained for London, I was really quite obsessive with the way that I was training and stuff. and I never missed one training session, whether it be I was at work, didn't get back from work till late on at night, and then I would be going practicing with the band or whatever, and then not getting back till 11 o'clock, and then still making sure that I was going in and getting my runs in. I do
Mm.
have the other little my other, so I don't drink anymore, I don't smoke anymore, but I do me running, and the only other sort of addictive thing that I do have is sweet food eating.
Right. Yeah.
Chocolate. I'm horrendous with it. I either have chocolate or and I have a lot of it,
Yeah.
like an awful lot of it, or I don't have it at all. Um, so I kind of have periods of that. Luckily, with drink, I've been able to completely switch it off. But chocolate doesn't. I don't seem to have the same thing with. But yeah, running is just. I've found it very very sort of. I've fallen into the thing of loving it and
Mm.
I just love it. I just love getting out.
Yeah.
So you could say yeah, it's addictive, but I just I love my running time.
Yeah, the chocolate addiction's probably quite handy when it comes to running those longer ultra
Yeah,
races and so on.
yeah,
Having a picnic as you do it, getting those miles in sometimes.
definitely.
Yeah.
I've got a long one this weekend. I've got a 50K this weekend.
Oh, great. Yeah, where's that?
It's over at Sherwood Pines Forest. So Nottingham way, nearer to sort of Mansfield, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that'll be an interesting one. It's going to be warm, so
Oh, yeah, for sure. You'd probably be glad of the trees and that.
yeah.
I would have thought definitely. Did you find as well that I suppose with running more and having challenges within running that that helped you to beat the addiction because I guess there's a thing of I'm not going to drink anymore and that's perhaps strong within itself but for a lot of people who've been drinking a lot that's not always enough you know so to have another reason to say I'm not going to drink because I'm out there and I'm running and I'm getting fit and doing this did that help as well?
Um, yes, yeah, because I don't want to. I would never want to go backwards on where I am
Mm,
right now. I don't. I just had this. I kind of realized that every time I'd kind of mess something up in my life, it was always alcohol that had sort of was always there when that was the th problem. But yeah, with the running, I really, although compared to a lot of people, it's not like I'm ever going to get a first place in anything. But to me, it's really important that I go out and every time I don't go out and do a race to mess around. I go out and every race I do, I give everything that I've got. I always do. That's
mm,
just the way I am. And if it was, and I think yeah, going sort of slipping back into bad habits wouldn't do me any favors and it wouldn't help me.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Um, And I guess the other thing I was going to ask you is in terms of that thinking time, how helpful has that been in terms of helping your mental health, getting over that depression you spoke about, uh, solving or helping you to cope with some of the things around your mum and alcohol and so on, really?
I kind of if I'm on a steady if I'm on a steady run,
Hmm.
it's almost like meditation for me. Once I've got a couple of miles in, I'm in the zone, then breathing's all controlled. I can just completely. Sometimes I do use it for, like I say, thinking time about plans of things that I might want to do or whatever. But other times, it's almost like I can just completely switch off from everything, not think of anything, and just
Mm.
absorbing what is around me, especially like in more recent times when I'm running with no headphones or anything like that. Um, but I find that it helps me greatly. The just going out running, whether it's getting back and just with the endorphins going and things like that as well, or whether it's just giving me that time to sort of I'm always very busy doing stuff,
Yeah.
and it allows me to sort of slow stuff down and then actually go back through and process all the things that I've got to do and then think, oh, actually, I need to do that. Or because otherwise, I just keep going and on mad tasks throughout the day and throughout the evening, and it allows me to just sort of regain myself, if you like, and
Mm.
just sort of ground myself a little bit.
Does that factor into why you've obviously gone into doing longer running rather than say going, well, I want to do some running, I'll go down and do 5K at park run every weekend or whatever?
Yeah, I actually I've got into this sort of weird cycle now of the long runs. And if I go back to when I first started, I was struggling to run any distance at all, really.
Yeah.
Um, but I do really, really enjoy the longer runs, and I think yeah, it just gives me that time. I don't. It's not very often that I think I'm like really down in the dumps that I've got to go out and have a long run, unless I've got like a lot of other stuff that I've got to do,
Hmm.
or the weather's absolutely terrible. But to be honest with you, if it's once I'm out, I don't mind. It's just that,
Yeah.
if it's chucking it down already, or if it starts raining when you're out, it's not too bad, is it? But if it's
No.
already howling a gale and freezing cold, it doesn't really want to drag you out the door. But once I'm out of the door, um, it's it's good. It's good.
How are you finding it at the moment in the interesting heat we're having?
Um, I mean, I love the heat anyway. I do
Yeah.
I do love the heat. I just making sure I stay on top of hydration and electrolytes and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's just doesn't do any good. You getting the old headaches and things. But
Yeah.
I do love the heat. And when I did London, it was pretty hot that day.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's no, it's nice. It's nice.
I quite enjoy running in the heat as well, and I
Yeah,
think the big trick is, like you say, if you prepare for it properly, you get your water, your electrolytes, you maybe run a bit more under shade, you might run
yeah,
a bit slower than normal. Then you know what I say to people is, unless you've got anything that's going to be triggered by the heat, particularly physically, then just go out and do it, but be more careful about it, I think.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly, exactly. Or there's early mornings, or like I said, when I was training for London, um, some nights I wouldn't be getting back from like my band practice or whatever until
Mm.
could be 11:30, midnight before I was going out. So it's cool, it's cool, it's cooler then. But actually, going out late night running is I quite like because there's
Yeah.
nobody about.
Yeah, that's always good. You always escape from all the other runners and tripping over dogs and everything else.
That's it.
And obviously, running now is going to become, I'm guessing, even more a part of your life because you're training to be a personal trainer.
Yes, yeah. I've completed my qualifications with that now. I'm just working on my nutrition side of another nutrition course.
Mm.
So hopefully in the coming months and into the years, I can sort of transition from what I'm doing, spend more time doing what I really love, which is um, running and training, and mix that alongside with playing in the bands and in the duos and stuff, and
Yeah,
earn my money doing that rather than um, doing the other.
yeah. No, that
I do,
sounds.
I do enjoy the job that I do, the engineering. I do really enjoy it, but I don't want to be doing it when I'm 60, if I'm honest. And I
Yeah,
do really get a great deal of, I just really feel great after I've, say, gone and played in the band or whatever, or been out or I'm helping people in the gym or however it is. So yeah, that's the direction that I want to go. A bit of a shift in the path of life, but I think it's good sometimes.
oh, definitely. No, I think having ambitions and changes and stuff it can really keep you going, and it's that purpose to drive you forward. And I suppose talking about purpose is it's the London Marathon would have certainly given you plenty of purpose when you were training and ready for that. Was that something you decided to take on because it's one of the biggest running events in the world, or was it more down to wanting to do something to honour your mum and help Sarcoma UK, or a little bit of both, I suppose?
So originally, after I lost my mum, I wanted to do Langdon to John O'Groats on a bike. Never happened. Always too busy. And the only other thing it was like it was out of that, and it had doing London had sort of crossed my mind in the past, but it seemed so far away from anything that I would ever be able to do.
Yeah.
Um, and then I just, yeah, it kind of just sort of clicked one day, and I just thought that is because I've done a lot of halves. I've always
Mm.
thought, I'm not sure if I want to do a four. Having knowing what I'm like after a run a half, but it's all relative to the distance you do and paces and that, isn't it, as well? But if you give all for a race, you've definitely got nothing left at the end, have you?
Mm.
Um, but yeah, and then I sort of waited and looked into it, and discovered that sarcoma, I could run for Sarcoma UK, which is the cancer that the mum had.
Mm.
So I thought, right, let's give it a whirl and see if they'll let me run for them, and they did, and it was an absolute honour to do so.
Mm.
And it was I devoted my whole 4 months, like from the January. I mean, I was always running anyway, um, but devoted the whole sort of 4 months into doing that. And I probably from the January to the from the January to the um, April, I probably put about 80 hours into running.
Yeah.
But I also probably put about the same into social media for trying to get the sponsorship and all stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and I guess for people who don't know much about Sarcoma UK, what kind of work do they do, and how can they help people, I
Um,
suppose, with the cancer and so on?
yeah, it's all about being there and being able to support other people looking into the research of what it actually is. Will they be able to at some point um, be able to pinpoint this more accurately
Mm.
as a cancer, and also um, make people aware of it because it's so rare at
Yeah.
sarcoma. Um, it's it's sorry, I've just lost my train of thought.
No, that's
Because
okay.
it's so rare. A lot of people have never even heard of it.
Mm.
So I've been working a lot alongside Sarcoma UK for the past sort of couple of months as well, and we've put a couple of alongside some other people to try and make people aware of what it is. Um, so yeah, that, but alongside they have support lines for other people which I didn't realize at the time that maybe I could have also
Yeah.
um, used, but I didn't realize that until sort of now. And since we've been putting these things together, um, there's been a lot of people commenting, and Sarcoma have been on there jumping on to sort of say, um, can you can get in contact with us anytime.
Mm. Yeah, so it's very much part of that awareness thing and letting people know, first of all, that I suppose it exists, but secondly, that there is support for people out there if they need it.
Yes, yeah, very much, yeah.
Mm. So, for anyone who doesn't know, obviously you mentioned it's a rarer type of cancer. What type of cancer is sarcoma?
So it's a bone and soft tissue cancer. My mum she first had it breast,
Right.
um, and then had a mastectomy, and then it's got secondaries from that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is a rare.
Yeah. So it's obviously, yeah. So a rarer cancer than some of the ones that we might hear about every day, which makes it, I
Yes,
guess, harder for organizations to get funding and so on.
yeah. I mean, I don't know whether it's harder to spot as well.
Mm.
If I'm honest, I know that my mum was regularly going to the doctors with lumps and stuff, and was just pushed away a lot by it.
Right.
And then obviously it was whether it was left too late because of that or not. I'm not too sure. I suppose we'll never really know.
Mm.
But yeah, it's
So how did London go on the day? Did you enjoy running in that heat and getting around that famous old course?
It was incredible,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. I honestly, I don't know what I was expecting with it,
Mm.
but it blew my mind. The support of the people that was there. Going over Tower Bridge, it was ear-piercingly loud with all the
Yeah.
shouting and the screaming and the support from everybody being out on the streets. So, the weather was great. The atmosphere was just phenomenal. And I got what I wanted to get, time wise.
Yeah.
So I'd worked hard for that. Um, so yeah, it was just mind blowing, mind blowing.
How did it feel getting across the finishing line there at the
Do
end?
you know, I was kind of relieved because it's the old one of obviously over that sort of distance you're weaving. So then
Yeah.
my watch and my phone is telling me before it even got to the roundabout down near the mall that I'm done. It's like
Yeah.
beep beep beep, you know,
Yeah.
it's over. And I'm thinking I can't even see the roundabout before this. It's not done. I had nothing left. So crossing it was. A few people said to me, "You look like you'd slowed down a bit when you crossed the line." I had because there was just I'd given anything and everything I'd got. I tried to get sub 3:45 and I got 3:35.
Oh, awesome.
I thought three sub 3:45, but I'll if I could push for 3:30, I'll aim for that. But I gave it everything that I had, and I'm more than happy with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Did you enter this year? Have you managed to?
yeah, I entered this year, but I was not lucky, unfortunately. Did you
Yeah, joined
yourself?
the club. Same.
Yeah,
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 same. I didn't get it. I've not done London yet. I think I've been like, uh, oh God, probably 10 years of rejection from London, but that's pretty low compared to some of the people. And even with the double bubble this year, it's not made a difference. I think I know two people who've got in, and myriads who are posting their
yes.
rejection
Yeah,
emails.
it's a lot. Yeah, it's but an incredible event. Even
Mm.
like walking around London afterwards, just random people just coming up to you and congratulating you, which is
Yeah.
yeah, makes
Yeah,
it
my,
very
wi- my
special.
my wife Michelle, she did it 2 or 3 years ago, and obviously we went down and supported. And that post event thing that you talked about there is, yeah, in some ways I think it's even better than running the actual event, because I think you just, or not me, she just
Yeah.
basking in the glow of it. So yeah. Um, I guess the only other question, Bob, is what's next? You mentioned a 50K. Are there any other epic races coming
Yes,
around the corner?
yes, I've got a 50K on Sunday.
Yeah,
And then I've got myself back onto the another ultra, which is the 58 one. It's called the Bullock Smithy. Um, I've got that in September. So I have thought I'd like to finish the year off um, doing some different stuff. So I'd like to do a 5K. I've never raced a 5K.
oh,
So I'd like
really?
to do a 5K and I'd like to do a half. That means this
Yeah,
year I'll have then raced in a 5K, a 10K, a half, a full, a 50K, and an ultra
yeah,
throughout the year. So that'll be if I can just do those other ones before the year ends after September, that'll be like a cool sort of thing. And
good
then
for you.
going into next year, um, I, I think I might just have to extend the distance. Some friends of mine have just done Bamburgh to Edinburgh, 100
Yeah,
miler. So
yeah,
I think that could well be on the cards for next year.
yeah. No, I know someone who's just done that one. Apparently it's particularly hilly, but that's probably no surprise to you.
Yes, yeah. I prefer it a bit hilly, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's total flat running. It gets a bit monotonous for me. So
Do you know, I'm kind of the same, really. I like to get out if I can on and do a bit of trail running rather than road running. Obviously, different people have different opinions on that, but for me, yeah, I definitely, if I can get out somewhere, it helps you to escape from the rest of the world, I suppose.
I did in December last year. I did at Nottingham Home International Water Park. I did the half marathon there. So it's 4.5 loops around the reservoir,
Mm.
completely flat. and
Yeah.
I was cooked by the end of it because you're not using any other just exactly the same muscles all the time, aren't you? It's just
Yeah.
hard ground, and it was yeah, absolutely smoked by the end of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I do prefer a bit of up and down. It breaks it up, breaks the journey, breaks the run up.
No, definitely. And just finally, what would you say to anybody else who is perhaps struggling with grief or depression or drinking too much alcohol or whatever problems they may have in their life and is thinking that running could be the thing that might help them?
Um, I wouldn't say to everyone, you know, should definitely go, you know, so long as
Yeah.
you are you haven't have got any underlying conditions or anything like that. Absolutely, just getting out, even if it's walking before running and then getting into a little bit of running. Running for me is just really helped me with and a lot of my friends as well with their mental health and well-being. So phenomenal, good bit of gear, and it's. I'd like to say it's free, but we
No,
all know that's a lie
it
because it
starts
comes with
free, doesn't it?
it starts off free, and then it comes with trainers and more trainers, and then other little bits that come alongside it, and watches and all.
Race entries.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But yeah, it's phenomenal for me personally, and I'll just say, if you're able to attempt to go out running, go and do it. Go and do it. It's
Fab.
life changing.
Brilliant. No, that's a lovely place for us to finish, Bob. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Running Tales podcast and for telling your story.
No props. Thanks so much, Craig.
Cheers.
All
Thank
right.
you everybody for joining Bob and I today on Running Tales. We really appreciate you listening in. If you want to learn a little bit more about Sarcoma UK, then go and have a look in the show notes, and we'll put all the kind of links in there so you can learn a little bit more about exactly what they do, the great work that they carry out. We will be back next week with another episode of Running Tales. Remember to like, remember to subscribe. Check out our Substack channel, runningtales.substack.com, and I will see you next week for another episode of the Running Tales podcast.